Hello, everybody. We are here today with a couple of my favorite people. We are doing a little interview session that we're going to share with everybody. Hopefully, we can all learn from it and gain some insights from it. I've got Benjamin Rebeske of Corbeau Tech and Mr. Matt Zembruski. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Well, we've talked before, so I thought I had it down. I should have asked beforehand. But I got Matt here with AI Agility. Both Ben and Matt are big into all of the AI things that are going on and that I can't even comprehend. And I learn greatly from them. So blessed to learn from them. So
Okay.
I'm going to let each of you kind of tell a little bit about yourselves, who you are, and then let's have a couple questions. I'm going to kind of grill you guys. So, Matt, you want to go first?
Sure. Matt Zembruski, thank you so much for the
Yeah.
opportunity to be here. I'm excited to hang out with you and Ben. CEO and founder of AI Agility. Our focus is really on future-proofing companies, and we do that by future-proofing their workforces. And how do we do that? We engage their workforce. We bring them AI literacy and upskill them with AI so that the people at the center of the company's number one asset, the people, are able to upskill themselves. The people get the benefit, the companies get the benefit as they accelerate speed to market, speed to revenue, quality is improved, stress is reduced, etc. That's what we specialize in. We focus in on the people first and how can we best help the people, which then unlocks the potential of the entire company.
Yeah, and you guys do a great job. I've been in some of your seminars and your training, and it's really, really fantastic. All right, Ben, take it away.
Matt, you had me at people. I love that. So I'm Ben Rebeske, founder of the Corbeau company. That's Corbeau Tech, which is a technology forward project success advisory firm, and the Project Success Academy. Both of those are Corbeau enterprises, and both of which, similarly to Matt's organization, are actually focused on the people, which sounds counterintuitive when I say that we're a tech forward advisory firm. And I think, like any given transformation, when you're introducing new technologies all the time, you've got to bring the people with it. So I'm oversimplifying what we're about, but our focus is bringing the concept of project success, not just project management, right? Not just project outcomes, but what does success really mean for organizations in regards to transforming, adopting, and then being self-capable in growth and maturity, right? So establishing the technologies that are sustainable because they become part of the culture. The same way you and I take for granted every day, we boot up a computer, we open our email, and we get started with our day. Imagine now if that's project success mentality around I start up agents. I'm very aware of integrations in my project schedule, what my team members need from me, and how we need to engage with each other to achieve the next milestone, the next milestone, the next milestone. And the last part of what we both teach with the academy and empower with the advisory side of our business through our consulting practice is all about aligning to becoming an executive's best friend. What I mean by that is in this new age of AI, it's not just about the new tools. It's understanding why executives ask us to do these projects and programs in our portfolio, how they align to the growth and the mission of our companies, our agencies, our hospitals, those parties for whom we're doing these projects. So I'm really excited about what Corbeau stands for, but also the traction we've been seeing with all of this growth in technology and how accessible it is. Um, I've just been so thrilled in the project management culture to see the appetite and energy around this, and we're just thrilled to be a part of it.
Yeah. And so a little backstory, we are all three business owners of different businesses, and I came across Matt on LinkedIn, and I do some contract work with Ben, and I said, hey, you guys would be really, really good friends. And can
Whoa.
I put you guys in touch with each other? And they were both like, yeah. And so they've become fast friends because they love all things AI and tech. And so they've had some good conversations. And then I got the honor of having Matt on our podcast. And so we've just kind of collectively done some things together in kind of a networking collaboration kind of way. So we're back again, all three of us together today. And I'm going to ask y'all some questions. So let's give this one to Matt first. Organizations are under pressure to move faster than ever. In your view, what separates companies that execute well from those who stay stuck in decision mode?
Yeah, great question, Amanda. So the companies that execute well are the ones that are really embracing new technology. And again, as we both Ben and I said in our intros, it's about how do you empower your people to embrace the technology. Now, I'm talking with business leaders and company owners and C-suite executives every day, and it used to surprise me, but now it's not surprising because it's a state of the affair. But right now, there's so much knowledge about AI in general, but the specific practical application to their role, project management professionals, everybody, every role in the company, are not clear. So right now, most companies lack governance and use policies around AI, and that's a big thing. You need to start with something, and because they don't have anything, people are starting to use AI on their own. It's Wild West. But most people aren't really using it much, and they're not using it effectively. So the companies that are really taking advantage, of which there's a small fraction right now, they're focused on, okay, what's our governance and use policy? Not spending weeks and months on this, but just very quick governance and use policy. Where do we want to start? What's our umbrella for the company? What tools do we want to use? Do we have the right legal agreements in place with those companies for those tools? Great. Let's communicate out to our employee base. These are the tools that are allowed. Okay, great. Now let's engage with a company like my company or another company to get the assistance to really upskill the workforce and to drive positive change with AI for their existing workflows so they can start to immediately practically see ROI in a matter of hours, literally. You don't have to spend weeks, months, like a 10-year project. This is like within hours, you can start to realize benefit and you can start to realize an amazing ROI from that. So short answer is the company's taking action to open their minds, growth mindset, leadership starts with leadership, and to lean in and get support from a company that you can trust to guide you through this journey. Because companies don't know how to do it on their own in most cases. So they need outside counsel at this point because of the tides. The river is moving very, very fast outside the walls of the company with technology and AI change and all that stuff. So engage with a company like ours or Corbeau and really get to know what's possible for your company. Because leaders want to know what's possible, who they can trust to help lead them forward. So take action.
Yeah, exactly. And Ben, I know you're chomping at the bit to jump in on that. But I just want to say real quick. So even with Corbeau, so I work under the Corbeau umbrella as a contractor, like I said, and Ben is very, very good, Ben and Shane, about teaching us, leading us, allowing us the autonomy to learn these programs. But even still, we have partnered up with your company to learn from the expertise that you have. And so it's important that you kind of have a multi-layer there. One, that there's the support, right? Like we talked about this yesterday in another talk, that we have to support our teams, right? And then furthermore from that, I have to go support my team in the ability to go and learn these stuff. So anyways, I'm going to let Ben go because I know he has a lot to say about that too.
Well, I mean, man, I'm probably over here looking like a bobblehead or something with everything that you were talking about. It's an interesting parallel because our entire reason for existing was the history of project management, that you would have these extremely capable project managers, project teams, very talented, and we'd still be rife with project failures. You hear the McKinsey stat, a little aged now, but still relevant, north of 60% of all projects globally fail to meet their objectives or fail entirely. And 10% of large IT transformations go so badly, companies go out of business. That is a lot of waste. That's a lot of missed milestones, millions of dollars in overrun in time worldwide, if you think about that. And even if you could drop that 1%, 5%, what would that mean? So we started digging into that, and this is back when Corbeau really became a focused entity on project success. It was, believe it or not, rapid and timely informed decision making. You could argue, yes, we didn't have enough money. Yes, we didn't have the capabilities. Yes, we ran out of time, resources, whatever the normal constraints are. But in the end, what it came down to is you have all of this talent suggesting ways to solve problems, not getting the right information, understanding integration points, supply chain, legal, regulatory boundaries. Even if you could get that information, it would take, okay, we have a problem. Great. The executives would say, go research it, go figure it out. And we'd come back to them a week, sometimes a month later. By then it's too late to make a decision to hire more people, work overtime, change the scope of the program, redirect resources to a different program and cancel this one for the good of the company. It's too late. What's interesting about what you said is it's such a strong parallel to mobilizing your workforce across the board, not just for projects. Start playing with these tools today, so every line of business, every mini culture of every team that you have, from strategy to finance to warehouse management, just have them start using the tools so you can start to see emergent ways to inculcate these technologies in your SOPs, right? So that you can get to decisions faster. Now, at the beginning of our call today, I talked about the importance of project success being driven by practitioners and team members understanding why executives do what they do and ask what they ask to manage a portfolio of successful goals for the year. Most of us have annual goals and financial goals, and you have to do certain programs. There's a reason for that, right? Now we have the responsibility and opportunity to make informed decisions about how it aligns not only to the success of our project, but to the success of, I call it the tree trunk, so that the other projects will succeed. Because money that we're spending on your project, if it's not time to spend it, could be spent on another project to get us to ROI there. Now I'm getting into executive numbers, and I'm getting into using the tools. All of this goes to what Matt was saying around the people. I think there's a misconception. If I'm not making a decision right now to mobilize AI in my organization, it's because it's too big. It can't be done. You've got to look at bite-sized pieces, and you've got to do it with the workforce you have. I fear, and we see this in the media a lot, that some folks, some leaders think the answer is, I can just learn AI and release the resources I don't need. They think it's the other way around. If I have someone who's capable and they're star players in their lines of business today, it's what Matt is recommending. Well, get them to play with this stuff. Invest the time in R&D and learning. There's this counterintuitive thinking that I don't want to waste money training my people. It's actually the opposite right now, because the minute they're good, it's like we're going from horse and carriage to automobile here. Get as many people behind the wheel practicing how to drive in the parking lot instead of having everybody keep using horse and buggy. Don't think that you're going to get some autopilot car that's just going to replace all these horse and buggy people. Don't do that. Do the opposite. Bring up your talent pool, because every single human you do, the better they get at AI, 2x, 5x their abilities, and they can train their team members, all of that. And all of this seems intellectually simple, but there is, of course, an investment in your people. And I think that's where I'm hoping we can, Matt, have that conversation go today, is how important it is to bring people with us. Because having a race car doesn't mean that you're going to be the first one to the finish line, right? There's still that people part. And that's where your organization comes in. And I value, the way that you guys do it in a B2B fashion. You make the unknowns tangible. You make this massive black box of learn AI, make your people play with AI. You actually quantify that into something that they can understand. And I think again, I'll close with this and give it back to you. It's not, you've got to master, Claude code or something, right? You don't have to know how to write code, right? You just have to, baby agentic steps have huge positive impacts on people's ability to learn and get creative and solve more problems to get you as executives, your team members, better, quicker, faster business decisions. And again, business decisions, turns out, are the real reason those programs have been wasting millions of dollars all these years. It's not lack of talent. It's lack of being able to make informed decisions. AI is going to get you those decisions faster. Thank you.
Yeah, and you both spoke a little about this, but I want to dive a little bit deeper in it, because as you were talking, both of you were talking, I was thinking about this. So, why would three of us, all CEOs of companies, be coming on here in our own time, right, to talk about this? Why are we? You two especially, I mean, I am too, because I'm learning, right? But I'm definitely not on the same level. But why are you guys so passionate about teaching people about this and telling people about this? Because it's not like you don't have anything to do, right? And so, we're coming together, about an hour of time to discuss this. Why is it so important to get this message out right now?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's super critical, because we're all practitioners, right? We're all active. We're not just I don't know, sitting back on some beach drinking pina coladas while there's a whole ownership and operations group doing our companies. We're all very active operators, and active operators that are getting benefit from AI and from all this stuff. So we're constantly practicing. We also all have a background in project management. We've seen the way it's evolved over the years, right? So we know that, okay, to do all these things, it takes this long, and this is the process. Well, we've all, because we have experience, this is my opinion, and I don't know if you share it, but AI is this incredible accelerant for good and for what you want to do. So if you're managing a project, you're trying to get to the goal line, you're trying to achieve these outcomes, these milestones, etc. All those can happen faster with higher quality with AI for, and it's not like you have to invest $100 million to do this. The technology's there and it's straightforward, and we can get results in a matter of hours, not months and years. So the opportunity to lean in is now, because if you wait, the risk, and this is why another reason why I'm passionate, is because a lot of companies are still on the sidelines right now. They're just dipping their toe in a little bit. They need to fully lean into this, because if they don't, they're at risk for existential risk. In 2 to 3 years, if you're not fully transformed with AI and fully operating with AI across your operations, your people, everything, you're done. That's it. And it's just, and the big enterprises are losing people because of a lot of political reasons, but they're not adopting AI quickly enough. And the mid-market companies, the ones that are adopting AI, are staying still or growing, and they're certainly growing with revenue. But the ones that are not are sort of at risk for, like, oh my goodness, we're going to get run over by this wave. So I think the reason I'm passionate, this is an existential risk for mid-market companies. And that's why I like shout from the rooftops, like to CEOs and C-suite folks, this is the time. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what it can do for your company. And let's just get started. Start small, experiment, put it to the test. Like, where's the ROI? Hold AI accountable, hold me and Ben accountable, you accountable, to show results, because we can show results very quickly in today's day and age, much faster than we could 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I'll let you answer it too. What's your take? I know it's similar, but
Well, so it's similar, but it's a different tack, right? And this is why I love, just our relationship, the three of us, and even others with whom we're networking. I think, Matt, when you and I first met, again, a LinkedIn relationship, man, I love what you're doing. I'm really curious. Can we talk shop? I think all three of us do that. And let me explain why. It's not just about bringing this evangelical importance to the businesses and our clients. This needs to be a movement. I'm not saying we're perfect in it, but here's the deal. We're not going to wait for the big tech, the big companies, the ones that sway policy and law. We're not going to wait for them to decide, okay, it's time for us to determine how, the workforce should use AI. We have a lot of frightened, disaffected, in my industry, project managers. I'm a big proponent of Project Management Institute, and I'm a member, volunteer, teacher. I've made so many friends and colleagues, and I've obviously made a career around the craft of project management. And there are large company decisions. You can look at the news. Oracle and these big entities reduce mid-management workforce, thinking, okay, well, my shareholders want this, the regulators want this, it's financially sound. I can replace half my workforce and just automate it. And in my opinion, not an economist, to be fair, are they solving a now problem for a quarterly shareholder report? Or are we going to start a movement amongst the professionals who know the craft of project management, program management, or our industry, whatever it may be? And are we going to upskill and define what and how the workforce is going to bring scale value in this economy, rather than kind of sit idly and allow the big corporate to shape where careers are headed? I think it's the other way around. I think from the bottom up, that's what we're trying to do, to build these relationships, these alliances as middle and small companies, is to say we can wait for big corporate to cut their numbers, and then eventually they'll hire back, and then they're going to train all their people on these fundamentals anyway. But in my opinion, it's too late then. I think helping the well-being and, frankly, I'll be honest with you, families, professionals who've been doing this for a lifetime are feeling like, I don't know where I'm going to go next, or if I'll have a job tomorrow. And that may or may not be true. I'm not wanting people to live in a place of fear, but why not live in a place of proactive empowerment? Find a community. Have someone like what Corbeau and Matt and even Amanda, your organization, is doing, and at least tell me a path. What should or could I be playing with today? What should or could I be learning today? How do I bring it to my employer to prove to them that me and my department and my teams have lots to offer beyond just something on the ledger that says I need to reduce operating costs and maybe release some resources from employment. It empower, and even if they do, there are going to be people in this movement that are going to want to hire you, right? Fine. Like if the big companies don't want you and you're willing to learn this stuff and play around with this stuff, I know where you can get with some emerging companies that are going to need people with your zeal and your drive, and you're taking the best of your years of industry experience and automating and empowering and scaling it. It's a huge opportunity. And so this grassroots movement of us being CEOs in smaller and middle-sized companies, trying to get even our competitors, I don't care, like other small and medium-sized, please get in here. Get your people. It doesn't have to be through Project Success Academy or any of our partnership organizations, but for the love of heavens, start communicating the message of here's the fundamentals. You've got to learn agents. And by the way, when I say AI, and Matt, you can challenge me on this prompting thing, and what I mean by it is just base prompting. Prompting is still important. If you're not using agents, you're not using AI, right? Just typing something in a chat at GPT to get a quick answer, that's not correct. Okay, that's like glorified Google. And I'm not being mean. I'm just saying that's not what I talk about with a career change, right? With scaling your abilities of decades of industry experience and project management experience and work experience or all the study. Like you get to bring that to bear, a minimum, you've got to be working on agent stuff. And I know that, Matt, that's where you guys start as well. So I think it's about this being a movement, not because we wanted it to, but because we have to. We've got to take people with us. Big corporate isn't going to do that. Big corporate is managed numbers down, finances and shareholders, and I get those obligations. So we have a responsibility to help shape the future of a workforce, of the people, and the growth of, this entire professional ecosystem. And the best part is we shouldn't and don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
So friends and adversaries, let's get on this. Let's go have some fun. Let's change the face of the working world.
Yeah, I think it's too. It spans across all. First of all, I think when you were talking, I was thinking we need to be speaking to other CEOs as well as like you need to invest this time and this money into whether you're big corporate or you're smaller, medium, like some of us. That's irrelevant in this. There's no space for deciding that either way, but we have to make that investment, financial, time. We have to make those investments in our people. But I love what you said, Ben, about look, if they're not investing in you, you need to invest in yourself because you need to be able to utilize these tools across different venues and areas and organizations. Because you might become one of the most valuable employees that a person could have in their organization because you learn how to utilize the tools. And one thing I love about the two of you is like you both were saying, I saw you nodding to Matt. It's not about going to Matt. Like, would we love to sell Matt's product? Yeah, he's great. What they do is phenomenal, and huge shout out for that. Would we love to sell Corbeau's products too? Absolutely, we would. But more than anything, we want you to go out and learn how to utilize these tools. And I was laughing because I like ChatGPT. We're friends. Mine's got like a British accent, and I like it. But I have learned from you guys a lot how to use these other agents, how to employ them. And I think we talked about this a little with somebody else as well in one of the other interviews. It's like you're probably already using something anyways. You just don't really realize it. You're not really, you probably so busy you don't even realize. But it's not something to be scared of. It's something to learn about and get training on, just like we train on other stuff. So I'm going to move on to the next question. As AI becomes more capable, what leadership skills become even more important rather than less important? You can go, Matt.
Yeah. So that's it's another good one, right? Because from a leadership perspective, it's important to again, my views, lead by example and be authentic, right? So there's a massive amount of opportunity that is opportunity cost if you're not taking advantage of the product. So there are organizations out there, and I won't name them, where the CEO says, oh, we need to do AI, we need to train our people, so you guys go do that, I'm going to go do something else, right? But the ones who are the better way to do it is to lead by example, to lean in. I don't care if you're CEO, CFO, it doesn't matter. Everybody can take advantage of AI. AI is a great equalizer. So again, within your governance and use policy that you've organized within your company, once you know what those guardrails are, you want to lean into this as much as you possibly can. And everybody, even the project managers, right? Just because you're not CEO doesn't mean you're not a leader. You're leading the charge for that project. You need to inspire the rest of all the people working on that project to move things forward in the most effective way possible. And project managers, a lot of times, you're sort of the bottleneck of information. You can create a whole AI ecosystem for your project to accelerate it, have your own strategic command center, we call it, to understand exactly where the project is at any point in time. So no matter where you are in the organization, the importance for leaders is to be the change you want to see in the organization, right? To quote Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the organization, lead by example. And all that means, here's a simple way to do it. All that means is just start to play with the tools, start to practice with it. And that's it. And challenge yourself. Like, hey, I'm just going to play for 15 minutes every morning before I start my work. I'm going to do something like that. Okay, I'm just going to play around. I talked to a CEO today, and he wanted to play with it. He wants to play with the tools. His company's not doing AI yet. So on the personal side, he said, I'm just going to challenge AI to like build a fun game I can play with my son. So he did that. That's him getting involved with the tools because he's getting ready to bring AI to his company. He wanted to start immersing himself. So that's a good example of leading by example, right? He's understanding it. You need to have conceptual, experiential knowledge of what these tools can do. And it's not, what's beautiful about it, and I'll just make this one more point, is anybody anywhere, regardless of education level, what country you're from, what language you speak, at any level, everybody's equal in the eyes of AI. And the currency to success in AI is your time. Put your time in, put the reps in, practice consistently. You will see results, and you will start to get ideas in the shower when you wake up the next day. Well, I was just playing and sort of playing around with AI for the last couple of days, but if I applied that to this at work, I could accelerate this project, or we can improve communication paths, or whatever it happens to be. We can give a better report to management in minutes instead of hours. Oh my goodness, this could be a game changer for us. You're going to start to come up with these creative ideas because that's your role as the human in the process, to be the creative energy and guiding light for AI and put the power of AI to use. And again, practice with it, play with it. As you lead by example, people will come along with you.
And I don't know if this is challenging that necessarily so much as taking it up a notch. So I like that. And all of us will play with it and try to experiment with it and invest in it to lead by example at our own pace. So we could use gym as an analogy. If I wanted to go there and get fit, I'm not going to grab 200 pounds on the bar and just start lifting, right? If you start with 5-pound free weights, start with 5-pound free weights, to use an analogy. So I do support that notion. But on the Corbeau side, our approach has been a little bit different in expectations of leaders. And that is that leaders are expected to expect more of their people. And here's what I mean by that. And there's a little bit of trust in that. And it can be uncomfortable for most of the leaders with whom, the EPMOs with whom we work, and the vice presidents and directors in their various lines of business, when we start, plugging their team members into these tactics of leveraging AI in a systematic way. There's some fear. The challenge to leaders is letting go a little bit. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. I'm not saying let go and then there's security risks and they're spending, 6 hours out of their 8 hours a day noodling around with, hello world automations. Okay. What I'm talking about is your folks are so good at what they do. Finance, warehouse and inventory and tax management and whatever that they do it. Our responsibility, as you've always done as a good leader, is to let them do that. But you also have to be willing to invest in them and let them fail forward a little bit. You have to be okay with that. But you have to hold them accountable. Okay, what did you learn? How are you going to not let that happen again? So there's this concept in AI adoption, and Matt could certainly speak to this much better than I could, right? When you first start using agentic in your team, you're going to actually lose productivity because of not just learning curve, but investment in what doesn't work before you're going to start to see sweet little automate. One that I use and for our team is Things like automated timesheets, things like we all do this with the old days with Alexa or similar. We're like, what's the weather today and what's going on in the news? Coming in and having your morning brief or your next 2-day briefs. Um, Automated meeting notes. How many hours of meeting notes do we record? What do you do with those things? They're sitting idle. But if instead they automatically became elements in your Microsoft project file that you need to get, starting to get, or your Jira or your Monday or things like that, if they're and these seem like little things, and I don't mean automation for automation's sake, but having your specialists know the SOP, know the culture, know who's going to balk it. Quit putting tickets in my inbox. Ben, what are you doing? You've got to challenge your folks to not just play with the tools, but use them in context and then report up and out. So you as a leader, it's almost like this came to me the other day. It's almost a mentor apprenticeship model, something that's probably lost 100 years ago when industrialization came out and people would throw a big book on it. This is your job. This is your job description. Just you go do that. Follow the instructions. I think the concept of an apprenticeship of sorts in this new era is important because you've got someone who knows so much context about their business and very little about these tools. Okay. And I've said this analogy before, Amanda, please be patient with me. It's like when AOL came out way back in the day and my grandma could finally send an email, right? The tool was no longer a constraint. You're going to have to get through that AOL. When is AOL, as an analogy, going to be old? So even grandma could send an email, could understand it. So our players who have so much wisdom to bring can start to use it. And you as a leader have to help them through that. And it takes investment in the human side. Okay. You can't just throw money at it. And you can't just say, go do some training. You've got to hold them accountable to certain objectives in learning and building out the new way of working, because otherwise you're not going to build a culture where it's okay to experiment, learn, fail forward, and benefit from those improvements. And so again, I think the leader this is uncomfortable. It's getting a little bit more high touch than probably what we're used to, where you could be very directive. And they always knew it's like, hey, Ben, I need you to go make sure that these 15 units ship, and we need to make sure that these make it through regulatory. I knew how to do that in the old days through email and my ERP systems and all that. Well, now I need to be able to scale that using new AI related tools. And I need to understand the guardrails. I need to understand how to keep it safe. But you've got to let me experiment with it, but hold me accountable to it. Ben, did you do your experiment time this week? What were the outcomes this week? Do you have any new SOPs? Can you show the other lines of business how you did it? Right? I think that's the tough part about being a leader. It's you've got to become more like an NBA coach. You've got to be on the court with your folks, not just calling plays anymore, right? You've got to watch when they're off balance and they're not boxing out or whatever your analogy is, but it's going to get closer and closer to being an involved coach. That's my perspective, and that's what's worked really well, both for our Project Success Academy students, taking that to their workplace, and then for our, executive PMO advisory services, you just get so much more traction because you're investing in the folks. You're going to get the investment back, and I got to tell you, once you get through that J curve, if you will, we're starting to see real results. We're seeing the organic growth and continuous improvement be a natural state in the culture rather than like that painful kind of get the muscle memory, right? I don't know, Matt, do you have similar stories?
Yeah, very much so. And I'll tell you, the J curve from my perspective is a lot faster now than it used to
Yeah,
be.
that's fine.
So it's yeah, I agree. I mean, ideally, if you were to wave a magic wand over an organization, you set the guardrails of the governance and use policy, do it in a few hours, figure it out, just do your first cut at it. You can go deep dive with some of our people that we know that are very good about that. You can always make it better, and that you should continue to make that better. But then immediately, whole organization, okay, here's your access, start figuring it out. We got Matt's company, Ben's company, whatever, coming in here to start to help you out. But in the meantime, start playing with this. 15 minutes a day, challenge everybody. Like the hackathon concept. Like all right, let's gamify this. What's the best idea? Like you said, to hold yourself accountable. All right, everybody gets access to these tools. We challenge everyone to use it for at least 15 minutes a day, and share your best ideas in the company intranet board. Boom. That right there would light up the entire organization because they don't have permission yet to know what they have access to and what they're supposed to be doing. Once you give them permission and say, all right, you're smart, we trust you, figure out what are some good examples. How can you start applying this? That's like instant, like all this entrepreneurial energy goes throughout these corporations because the natural leaders are going to rise. The project managers are going to rise up and say, oh, here's 10 ideas I've been struggling with. I'm going to apply AI to this. Oh, it didn't work. It did work. That type of just experimentation and communication is where I've seen the most impact. I've done it with different teams in different industries, and that's where they light up. And that's what matters to me. And I know we're all people-centric people. And when you see someone like, and they're an employee and they've been working really hard, they're under pressure, and then you unlock their talent and their passion, and they start moving forward faster, and they're more successful just because they're leveraging a tool and they put their own ingenuity and intention into it. Boom. You've just unlocked all this creative power. They're still the employee. They're still getting paid their paycheck. But now you've unlocked all this creative power. It's a happier, more joyful place for them to work. And they're doing so much more to add value for the company.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to weigh in on that because I'm going to tell you in all truth and honesty, what I am best at is what I was allowed to fail at by different people that I worked for, by different leaders. And the things that I excel at, I was given the ability, one, to learn on time, right? And the ability to mess it up. But I'm my own worst critic. And so, when I figure it out, then I know it. I'm good now, right? And I have been so blessed over my career to have been put in the path of leaders who allow me that opportunity to say, and not with just AI, different things, right? When we were talking about different tools or different programs, it's not just this. There was a time when we all had to figure out how to turn the computer on, or we use Microsoft. I still have to figure out how to use Microsoft every day. It's a challenge. But when I've been allowed to fail, like Ben said, or to try, like you said, Matt, and had the opportunity, and somebody say to me, hey, I want you to clock in and I want you to do this. And if it doesn't work, that's fine, but tell me. And so I learned from that so much. And I've also tried to very much employ that with my team and say, it's okay. You don't have to do it perfect, but I want you to try it. And that's one of the things that I really love about the two of you is that you really, really adopt that. It's really about your teams and the people that you're training. And it's important. And I think we could shout that from the rooftops to other C-suite executives and stuff, like, let your people do the thing and figure it out. Because and give them the time, take some stuff off their plate so that they can have the time to go do it. Because I know, especially for us, the high achievers that are, working ridiculously 2 long days, we'll sit there and then add that in on top of the 50 other things that we have to do. And so give your team the time and the opportunity to do it. We're wrapping up on time, and so I want to be respectful of your time and everybody else's, but I'm going to let you each have a turn. If there's just one other thing that you want to say to everybody about what you guys are doing, or AI, or the implementation, or anything really, give us your sage advice on whatever topic you choose. And Matt, you can go first if you want.
Yeah, that's so for leaders out there, a question I get asked a lot is, how do we stay on top of all the AI, right? And I just got asked this question today by a CEO. And we're immersed in it, right? We're practicing it every day. We're podcasts and education and all these different things. It's time consuming for us and our organization to stay on top of it all. But I say that because what I'd encourage every organization out there is reach out to organizations like Corbeau and AI Agility and different organizations that are credible and are on top of it, because most organizations don't have the ability to stay on top of everything. And the reason I say that is because use us as advisors, use us as consultants to come in and help you sort of direct the energy of this AI opportunity that's in front of you, and just help you make sure you're directionally steering in a good way for it to grow, because it's a super powerful force. So that's my general advice is reach out and ask questions for companies that are on top of the latest and greatest, because it's changing all the time. There's not one model that's the best, right? I mean, any given day you could argue one's better than the other. There's not one way that's the best, but we all, like organizations like Corbeau and AI Agility, right? We have a lot of background in lean and agile process and value stream mapping and all this on top of AI. So when you layer all that together, it's the ultimate in like, hey, let's lean out the organization and increase revenue, reduce cost, and do all the things we want to do to make it more efficient. Get some consultative advice, even if you just dip your toe in the water and get a, hey, I don't know what to do about this. Let's talk about it. Ben mentioned it earlier. Reach out to people. Talk about this. Get some advice, get some help. Lean in on each other, even internally at your company. If there's a person who's great at AI, work with that person.
Ben?
Yeah, yeah, Matt, I think you and AI Agility are outstanding at bringing the B2B to organizations and addressing the leadership needs. So I wanted to address, all of those of you who are project management professionals or even just career business middle management professionals. This is for those of us that are like, I don't know what's going on with my job. I don't know what's going on with the working world. I don't even know if what I have on my resume is going to be worth anything in a year, whatever that is. Or even if you're not in a position of fear right now, are you in a position of setting the stage for the future of your teams, your peers, your PMI chapter, however you contribute back to the community or to the, well-being of your teams and even your families. As a professional, my challenge to you is this. Through the years, there's going to be these shakeups, right? In technology changes or whatever. I'm showing my age a little bit here, but I can remember coming out of college and going to work at a place where they were still using interoffice mails. Like we literally had a physical inbox with memos, and there was a mail room, and every day, and you got the 10 a.m. and you got the 2 p.m. They go in and out with the interoffice envelopes and the whole thing. And that it took a while to be all digital, to be all email. Then you get things like Slack and Teams and video. I remember thinking, oh, I'll never use that real-time chat stuff. I'm only ever going to use email because I want a paper trail and I can't be interrupted in the middle of a meeting while I'm chatting. Well, now how many of us, are receiving 6 or 7 messages while we're presenting, while we're in meetings, while we're prepping, asynchronous work, time zones, languages translated. I share the wonders of all of this to share to those of you who are working professionals out there. The days of a technology being established and settling are gone. So, for example, we'll take movies, right? It was VHS versus beta, and finally VHS won. Then it was DVDs, right? And then was it going to be Blu-ray or HD DVD? While Netflix started up and became digital, right? While they were sending out Blu-rays. And now everything is, subscription-based channels, and it could change again, right? But things are kind of stabilized that we get most of our entertainment on the internet. That's not going to happen with us. What Matt said is so, so important. You can't pick a wrong one. Not picking one is wrong.
Very good.
I am almost, I'm this, because like you've got, watch YouTube videos, go to free PMI chapter meetings, visit AI Agility, find out what they're about, download something. In Microsoft Copilot, create an agent that just says, send me an email with the weather every day. Because what is going to stay, even though I don't think the technology is ever going to settle. I don't think we're going to be one day like, well, Claude, one and all, it's all Anthropic, or it's all going to be open AI. Like, it's not going to happen. It's always going to be this, and there are actually even other contenders that are being introduced every day to the investor market that could dark horse out of nowhere. So what does stay with you is your ability to learn these when they come out and leverage them safely and effectively. And again, it's not huge. It's bite-sized little things. But by becoming someone who knows how to use these things with your mind, it doesn't matter what new tools come out because you learn how to learn new tools.
Yes,
And
exactly.
leverage new tools and change cultures and empower your team members and all the things. And I think that's the future of project management is project success practitioners, because it doesn't matter what the software is. We have the wetware.
Yeah, and the only thing that I would add to that, because you guys are absolutely brilliant, and this is why I would add this. Get yourself in a group of collaborative people like this that can have these conversations, people that are smarter than you, that can tell you and guide you and say, oh, ChatGPT is the one you need to use this, whatever. I laugh because Ben gets on to me for that. But really, collaborate with people who are willing to talk about it. You guys are brilliant at this, and you're willing to have the conversations. And of course, we're all, everybody's trying to make money, and so there's products that we're selling. So we'll be transparent about that. But in the same respect, I can say, knowing the two of you the way that I do, if somebody had a question, you guys would answer it without hesitation. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to come together and kind of have these talks is, let's give some information. Let's kind of inform people. So I'm going to ask you very quick one. You only get to answer with one answer. It's going to be really hard for you guys. I want each of you to tell me it's mid-April 2026 right now. So I'm just going to say that because we're recording. What is your current favorite tool?
Claude, latest release, Opus 4.7 just dropped yesterday.
Ben?
Haven't played with it yet, but Claude Code 4.6 Opus.
All right, we might come back in 6 months and see what the answer is in 6 months. That would be cool to do, and see if they're like how far we've come from this particular tool to the next one in 6 months. So I just want to thank you guys for coming on with me and having a conversation and for informing people. And we'll have information in below the video on how to contact both of you, how to get a hold of you, and get more information. But thank you guys. I appreciate your time today. I know you're really, really busy.
Thank you so much, Amanda. It was great to be with you. Great to see you, Ben. Appreciate the opportunity.
And you both, thank you both so much.